Why are we sometimes attracted to emotionally unavailable partners? And when we ask this question, it is very interesting. When I worked on making this video, you'll see there's so many things that you probably didn't think of. So many things that you'll feel like, okay, that's exactly how I function. That's exactly how I operate. Because when it comes to attraction, there's a lot of drivers that are unconscious. There's a lot of decisions that we think we make rationally, but are pretty much emotionally driven. And this is what I want to discuss today. So next time you date someone, or perhaps you're in the process of trying to get back with your ex, ask yourself the question whether this attraction is based on things that are helping you to have a successful relationship. You'll see everything will make sense. And I want you to keep in mind this roller coaster, this image. And ask yourself whether the context of relationships, especially early in the relationship, you feel like on a roller coaster. And if you think, probably, this is potentially the reason why you're attracted to emotionally unavailable partners. Let me explain. So there's an appeal, there's an attraction. There's something that attracts us to emotionally unavailable partner, which is typical for people who have an anxious attachment style. The thing is, so the first element is this excitement. The uncertainty provides that excitement. I don't know how he or she will react, and therefore I need to chase. I need to play a game. Another element that's a very famous cognitive bias is the scarcity effect. Because they are hard to get, because they're not available, I need to, they are valuable in my mind. Okay, luxury products are by definition, they have to be unavailable and scarce. Okay, there's also an element of, and we'll discuss that later on, of familiar patterns. We're attracted by things that are familiar to us, not healthy, familiar. And the whole challenge, and that's what I do with my clients, when we look at how to reflect on the relationship or on a breakup, it's important to analyze the things you're attracted to, the familiarity. And if you're attracted to unhealthy or toxic patterns, you have to break away from those patterns. Another element that makes emotionally unavailable partners attractive is the culture, is the characters that you see on TV, social media, and movies. They're distant, they're desirable, they're the James Bond, the character from Mad Men, all those guys, very attractive, very like, I don't want to get too emotionally close to you because I'm strong. Also, the thing is, there's an element of mirroring the past of different relationships. So not only caregivers or parents, could also be different relationships that happened in the past. And again, it's something very important that you have to do is do a relationship inventory, really looking back at your different relationships and making sure, like, was I on a roller coaster? Did I choose to be on a roller coaster? Is it helping me to be on that roller coaster? And obviously, this roller coaster effect will reinforce attachment pattern. If you're anxious, you feel like, I'm not worthy of love. I need to get reassured, to be reassured, to get that validation. And when I jump on this roller coaster, I have this like, oh yeah, I'm chasing for the highs, right? I'm chasing for the highs. I feel like I need to be in the lows. That's where I belong. And I need to chase for the highs. And also, because those elements of closeness are very rare, we feel like, oh yeah, I found the key. I found the key to this person. They are very mysterious. They're very hard. You know, they have like a big shell, a big barrier. And I was the only one who managed to break the ice with them. Again, this is something we'll discuss at the end. This is a huge mistake that people make, is they feel like, okay, with me, he or she will be different. So the role of attachment style, obviously, as you know, I'm an expert in attachment theory. I'm former dismissive avoidant. But if you have an anxious attachment style, as I said, you're usually craving approval, reassurance, and you're scared of rejection. So you have an abandonment wound. And when you date an avoidant partner, so someone who's emotionally unavailable, they give you this push-pull, right? These highs and the lows, okay? And so the thing is, what we have to assess is what sort of attracts you in this push-pull dynamic is the difference between the highs and the lows, right? And so the confusing part, and I know it's very hard to accept, but there's no other way around, is that the beginning of the relationship feels really smooth. Everything was great. So a lot of people, they call me, we've been together for 6 months. Everything was great. He or she was, perfect partner, perfect relationship. And so at the beginning, it's very easy for avoidant to invest in the relationship because there's no commitment. And then as soon as you get that idea of, okay, let's develop the relationship, let's move in together, let's do something, let's meet my parents, let's do things or plan holidays, that's becoming triggering, and you enter in those attachment script of on and off, of like chasing, pulling back, chasing, pulling back. And so what happens is when they pull back, that gives you, again, it's familiar, it's something that is the sort of attachment script reinforcing this idea of like, I need to fight for this relationship, right? And so because they're unavailable, they give you that image. That's not healthy for you. That's not what you need. But in a way, that's familiar. That sounds like it should be like this, right? So the whole point of this video is to tell you that's not what works for you. You should break away from those patterns. And so the point is, again, looking roller coaster, keep this image of the roller coaster, is to not to confuse the intensity with connection. So at the beginning, and so that's the confusing part, at the beginning, it's always intense. Regardless whether you're dating someone anxious, secure, avoidant, it's always driven by a lot of dopamine rushes, oxytocin, and it's always passionate, always at the beginning. And so we equate this intensity as feelings, right? It's not necessarily feelings. It's like, yes, feelings, but it's not something that will translate into compassion, because like the honeymoon phase is driven by passion, and then it needs to be transitioned to compassionate phase. So the problem that you have, potentially, being only attracted to emotionally unavailable partners, is that when you meet people who are stable, who are secure, you find them boring. You like the roller coaster, in a way. You don't want to be just jumping in a train on a flat surface. What you want is the highs and the lows. So that's the thing we need to change, is that what you want is the highs and the lows. No, you don't want the highs and the lows. You idealize these highs and the lows. Again, maybe because of movies and series and icons and stuff like that. But what you need is stability. It's someone who's consistent. It's someone who is available. Okay? So now what I want to spend 2 minutes on is this idea of they can change. So I was looking and researching for this video, and I put the link of this research. It's analyzing the defensive process when it comes to anxious avoidant trap. And I just put an extract from the study. Anxious individuals are more likely to interpret avoidant behaviors as temporary, and they hope can change their partner. So they know they have like this, I don't like what he's doing, but because he loves me, because I love him, because I'm going to fight for him, I can change him. And I say him could be her. Let me know in the comment section if that's something that you can relate with. This idea of, yeah, but with me, that would be different. I've seen that early on in the relationship. He told me those things. He said those things. Therefore, he can do it, which makes sense. However, you forget to accept that he or she is avoidant, and therefore, they are actively, unconsciously blocking this. So they have the potential. I don't care about the potential. What we care is what they give right now. Not at the beginning of the relationship, right now, consistently. And so maybe there are elements of love bombing, especially at the beginning of the relationship. The point is stability. And so if someone secure would date someone avoidant, they will not play that game. Right? Early on, they will assess, okay, hold on. I'm not the one who needs to change. He or she needs to change. I can give him or her the benefit of the doubt, give them a second chance, but I'm not going to play that game. Because I'm not going to wait for him or her to finally realize that potential. And it's not that secure people are pessimistic. It's just that they have strict boundaries. They know what they want, they know what they don't want, and they don't want to play games. I'm pretty sure that in a way you like this idea of playing games. This hard to get, when they send you a text at the beginning, you wait 2 days before replying, all this kind of stuff. This is a sign that, deep inside, there's an element of roller coaster drive. And again, let me know in the comment section if you feel this is something you can relate with. Another obviously element is, as we touched on briefly, is the childhood experiences. When you had, doesn't have to be always the case, but when you had parents that were emotionally unavailable, we are attracted to primary attachment giver in adulthood who mirror those dynamics. So primary attachment figure when we are kids, i.e. our parents. And so you have this trauma bonding of craving this sort of toxic patterns. And so we repeat the patterns without knowing that we are repeating something unhealthy, toxic, or that's not helping us to feel stable and happy and fulfilled and less anxious in our relationship. And that's always this idea of I need to earn that attention. So when you were a kid, I don't know, maybe you had to earn your parents' attention because you were busy, because you are doing other things, and you had to fight to get them to tell you, I'm proud of you, you're doing great, or I love you. Sometimes, and I have kids, it's very hard to be always available. And so sometimes when you feel like your kids are fighting for your attention, you're busy on your phone and doing something, that could create, I'm not saying that always, but that's always this dynamic. Do they need to fight for your attention? And when you constantly give them this sort of dynamic of like, you're not my priority, I have other things to do, and I'll be available whenever, and I will only approve what you do if you do something exceptional, then that creates this kind of dynamic that sometimes people are attracted to when they're adults. So if you're entering the dating world now and are a bit confused, want some help, just want to be with like-minded people, we are launching a program this next Saturday. Have a look in the description. The idea is like having 4 workshops where we would work with you, try to replicate what we do in one-on-one sessions. So it's perfect for anyone re-entering the dating world. There's more details in the description. And for the first 10 applicants, you get a free one-on-one session. So have a look. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section about this. The whole point is like, okay, I'm confused. I broke up. I want to move on. I want to find someone. And I want to build a relationship that I deserve. Have a look. We'll discuss about, on those programs, we'll discuss about those boundaries, how we can let go of those unhelpful patterns, not necessarily toxic, but unhelpful patterns, and also practical things about the dating world. Have a look. Let's move on to the next one, which is about self-esteem and self-worth issues. So this is I don't remember why I took it, but it's from, again, a study. When we look at how self-esteem and view of others, so on the top, it's thought of yourself, so self-esteem. And on the left is view of others. Dismissive avoidant, bottom left, have a negative view of others and a positive view of themselves. They're here. I'm superior than you. Not that I feel this way, but if I want to sort of make it very simplistic way of explaining this, because I don't feel superior, surprisingly enough. But maybe in the context of a relationship, actually. Anyway, for people who have a fearful avoidant attachment style or this anxious attachment style, so they would have a negative view of themselves. So they will put here, the other is here. And so what happens mechanically in those dynamic, you feel attracted because you don't feel enough. You feel you have a low value, and therefore the other one is the price to get. So you're attracted to that person who has high self-esteem, but unfortunately low view of themselves, low view of others. Ideally, you want to be with someone who's secure, which is positive. So if you are dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant, or anxious preoccupied, the whole point is to try to work on those. So for avoidant, it's view of others. For anxious people, it's view of themselves. That's also what we do. That's what I do in coaching 101, but also what we do in the program. And so again, it's the idea of I need to earn because I'm value. If it was a scale of 0 to 10, I feel like a 2. My partner is a 10. So I need to earn. I need to prove them like, I'm a 2, but I can be same league. the sort of what we say in dating world, dating in the same league. Okay? So it's the point of like this idea of one-sided relationship because of our view of self, of ourselves and our view of others. And so what happens is distance is therefore rewarded. Right? We are in that phase of I need to change validation. A lot of anxious people, they feel that they need to fight for their love. They need to fight because they need to fight for their parents' attention, for example. And so this narrative, this little story that you might be telling yourself is, if they choose me, I'm worthy. So that becomes an unconscious mindset. So I'm worthy, and therefore I need to fight for it because anytime they pull back, it's because I'm not worthy of love. And so this unavailability will again validate those fears, those unconscious patterns. And so when you work on yourself, what happens is that you distance yourself from those patterns. You feel more confident. You don't want to play those games. You don't want to chase anymore because you know that love shouldn't be a fight, shouldn't be a race, right? You want to be equal with your partner in terms of investment. I don't feel people have necessarily a value. It doesn't mean anything, but that's how we perceive things sometimes. Now, a few steps if you want to break the cycle. First of all, recognize attachment style and how it affects your choices. So plenty of videos online, mine, others, Heidi Prieb, Ty Gibson. You find a lot of great content out there. And then it's really about, okay, from this knowledge, how I can work around my self-worth, about my independence, how to be alone, how to be self-sufficient, etc., etc. And then you have to choose partners based on their action, not their potential. Actions, not potential. And I know at the beginning, you can't really assess a lot of things. And you have to be hopeful, you have to maybe project, fair enough. But at some stage, you have to only assess their freaking action and challenge this idea of attraction, right? Because attraction can be someone stable, someone available. When you send a message and they reply back right away, they're not needy, they're interested. That's a green flag. When they are playing hard to get, it's not necessarily a red flag, but that's not what you want. That's not what you need. Well, I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this video, you're an adult, you're mature, you have had other relationships in the past. So you don't want to play games, right? And in that sense, it's important to understand how you can practice setting boundaries, knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want. The things that you will sort of, okay, this is a no-go, this is a non-negotiable. And sometimes it's hard because maybe you've been in a dynamic of people pleasing all your life and you have to let go of this. So now is the time to create those sort of this structure, these processes. Because if you don't have those rules in place, yes, you will end up with the wrong partner and have the wrong relationship. You will force and try to make it work, but you won't get what you want. You won't get the relationship you deserve, and you deserve to have the right relationship. That's the only thing I would hope you to get. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, because it's kind of a new type of content, don't hesitate to like and let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Take care.